All right, good morning, everyone. Welcome to the live stream today. All right, Gavin, good morning. D. Anderson, Balchi. All right, hope everyone's ready for another excellent day of trading. We'll see what the market offers us today, but we're ready. Just log into YouTube quickly. All right, there we go. We'll give everyone just a handful of minutes to arrive, and then we'll get going this morning. Fuego, good morning. How are you? Oh, calm. Good morning. How are you? All right, let's jump in and look and see where we landed on dollar. All right, so we had our two levels marked up yesterday that we thought the dollar could reach to. And then once it got into this fair value gap, we would get some sort of rejection back to seeing lower prices, back into potentially the consolidation zone that it was in, but at least for sure somewhere lower than these two pools of liquidity. So far, we have seen both of those levels reach. We've even seen today the upper level reached a second time, and there was small rejection. And so we're looking for a larger rejection. We're looking for a rejection back down into these fair value gaps and potentially, like I said, below these lows here into the range that it's been in since about mid part of January. Right. So we'll keep watching dollar as we go through today, recognizing that this pull above it is full of a bearish fair value gap on the daily that could send price lower. And we're anticipating that and waiting to see the signals and to see the candle start to push lower. So let's go ahead and move over to ES. See where we landed yesterday. So we had an inside range candle yesterday, trading within the range of Friday. And we had the high and low, and then yesterday just traded inside of that range. And so for today, we're looking for, I know we've been bullish, or at least yesterday I said I was going to be bullish for the week, and we're going to be looking for higher prices, potentially dipping lower first and then going higher. And so we did see a pretty decent sized wick below on yesterday's candle, trading into more than 50% of the wick from Friday. And so today, I would expect us to break out of this range, taking out the high from Friday. Excuse me, which subsequently also takes out the low from the high from yesterday. But the high from Friday is what I think is our next target, and that's at 4997. And then from there, of course, we have the all-time high at 5028. Yeah, 5028 and a quarter. Okay, on the 4 hour, we see that it's basically been stuck in a consolidation zone. But right now, this 4 hour candle, which concludes at 10 o'clock today, looks like it has the most momentum of all the candles of the past few days. And so we definitely could get it to push through. We have the new week opening gap for this week. We're trading below it at the moment. So it would be nice to break through that, trade above, close above, and then push for 49.98, which is Friday's high. All right, looking at the hourly. Right. So it looks like on the hourly, we're still bullish. So even though there were lower prices put in, it never changed sentiment to being bearish. So we are still bullish. So after, you come out of a consolidation, you expect expansion, which is right close to where we are. So breaking out of these equal highs, getting through the new week opening gap, relative equal highs over here as well. And then a push up to Friday's high. So everything still looks in order, even with the hourly price action. We got to bounce off of the new day opening gap from today. We're trading right now above the midnight open. If we see a dip below the midnight open, that could be Prime's buying zone. So if you see a dip below the midnight open, look at this fair value gap as a potential turnaround zone and a buying opportunity. Oops. Okay, so we had the same thing yesterday. We traded just inside of the zone from Friday. Monday's price action didn't take out the high or the low. It just traded inside. But so far today, just today, since 1800 yesterday, we've already swept the high from yesterday and are poised to take out the high from Friday. We're really close. We got as far as 769 and only need to get to 775. So we're only 6 points away, and now we see a little retracement. So either the 9:30 open or the medium impact news at 10 o'clock, we're going to expect for yesterday's high to be taken. And so shortly after, I can't imagine why the all-time high would hold if we can continue to get bullish momentum, and we're really that close. So we'll expect to hit that either today or tomorrow, most likely today, unless we get heavy bearish momentum in the morning to where we think that we're getting an even deeper retracement than we got yesterday. We're going to expect to hit that all-time high today. All right, here on the 4 hour, we see we retested this fair value gap 8 or 9 times, it seems. Pushing out each time with the most powerful, strongest push being the one we're in right now. That candle ends in another 35 minutes. We have the new day opening gap from the past 2 days that it traded through this morning, rejected out of. And so again, we're expecting yesterday's high. Yesterday's high already been taken. We're expecting Friday's high at 775 to be taken, and then the all-time high afterwards. And as we get to the hourly, so same thing here. If we see price dip below the midnight open, that may be a great buying opportunity. So we should look for whatever trading model you use. Look for an entry model somewhere below the midnight open. If you're bullish today, it'll be a good opportunity to go long. And that's all I got. So we basically trade out of this fair value gap 3 or 4 different times, each time rejecting with a large bullish candle. We had 2 new day opening gaps, the Sunday open as well as the Monday reopen. Here, Sunday reopen, we had candle bodies close above the 50% push out of it. And so That is the reason for our bullish sentiment today. We already were bullish for the week. And so we're going to carry that. We have equal highs here. So let's watch out for those to be taken. Equal highs at 769. So the high that we experienced this morning at the London Open at 2 o'clock. Those are equal highs we want to see taken, as well as the equal highs from the Friday afternoon. That's a 775 number we're talking about. So with that, I'm going to drop it to the 15-minute and we'll leave it here. Actually, let me go back up. Get rid of some of these lines and I'll drop it to the other chart. And then we'll wait for the opening bell. We have about 3.5 minutes before the opening bell. All right, let's see who else we have. Surge, Jay, Esh, Yanus, TikTok, Robin. Good morning, everyone. Fred, CEO, Young, Tommy. Welcome back all. All right, Luke, good morning. All right, I'm going to go ahead and grab a cup of coffee before we get this opening bell here. I'll be right back. Hey, get that opening bell. Okay, looks like we're going to make a run to the previous day high a little early. Okay, and its previous day high is actually not yesterday, it's Friday's high. Hello, George, Kendrick, good morning. Okay, so equal highs so far. Right now we have the opening range reaching for lows. We'll come back to this a little bit later. Armando, welcome back. Good morning. Hey, Sniper. We're going to be looking for longs today. Yes, Sniper. Let's not forget all that we do have today. At 12 o'clock, there's an FOMC member speaking, which is a medium impact folder. It's during our lunch hour. So I'm not sure how it's going to impact our trading today, whether it's just going to impact the candles during the lunch hour, which most people aren't trading anyway, or if it's going to be one of those delayed reactions where nothing happens and then at 1:30 all of a sudden we see a big reaction. Let's just see what he's going to talk about. Ohio Bankers League Economic Summit. Hmm. Okay, let's just take a look and see how the opening bell has impacted the others. Okay, it looks like an opposite reaction on the Dow and Nasdaq. So they are not aligned at the moment. So we definitely want to wait until Nasdaq and the Dow starts to align a bit. And it looks like it's Nasdaq that's doing the wrong thing. So we'll wait for Nasdaq to turn around, maybe start seeking some higher prices, and we'll also keep monitoring the dollar and make sure that it's continuing to push lower and that it wants lower prices. And for that, we'll move on and let's give the opening range some more room to breathe. Let's see how it turns out. Back and measure once again. Okay, we're getting really close to 70%, which is the new day opening gap for today. The orange is the new day opening gap for yesterday, but also the new week opening gap since it was the first day of the week. All right, Robin, good job. Absolutely, a win is a win. Micros, minis, full lot, it doesn't matter. All right, yeah, I'm looking to see how we respond here. It's already gone 70%, which is halfway into the optimal trade entry. So far, it looks like we're rejecting a bit. We still have another 5 minutes on this 15-minute candle. Um, but since it was 70% and it's the new day opening gap, I'm hoping that's as far as it wanted to retrace. And let's see if we can't get some bullish momentum out of here. Uh, um, I don't think people trade full lots, not anymore. No, I don't think so. I think that was well, maybe the institutions probably do. But I think that was more or less back when the trading floor was still open, and that was the only way you could trade. I think people traded lots. By bringing in computers and sophisticating it a bit, I think having these smaller increments are probably more popular today, especially with all the retail guys. No, you'll get there, Robin. Don't worry. Don't worry. Start getting a couple wins under your belt in a row, and you start seeing your account grow. And before you know it, you'll be moving over to the mini side. Hey, Dustin. Good morning. Striking Insight. Good morning. How's it going? Yeah. Okay. So a 30-point rejection so far from that low created on the 15-minute candle. All right, Shamir. Have a good day as well. Welcome back. Okay, it's the first 15 minutes of the opening range is now complete. Let's see if we get a further push down and then a build back up. Interesting how the new day opening gap, or the new week opening gap, sorry, is perfectly spaced between 78 and 88%. Hmm. And right now, it's doing a little ping pong action between the bearish and bullish fair value gaps. All right, striking 600 already today. Good job. Yeah, I'm just looking at on the other time frame to see what we may look for that's below us. Oh, okay. I didn't realize it retraced this much. So it retraced all the way down to 88% of this current leg, actually below the new week opening gap. The yellow is the new day opening gap. So traded below all of that. Still inside of the breaker. Hmm. Hmm. So Nasdaq and the Dow still are competing against one another, going the opposite direction, trying to prove to the other one they're better. Hmm. All right, so so far we've had an opening range of 100 points to the downside. Right, so we do see a 50% retracement on the larger swing from yesterday, pretty much yesterday's opening bell or 10:30 or so. Yep, 10:30 from yesterday, all the way until we got to the London open this morning. From that low until the London open high, we've now seen a 50% retracement so far since the opening bell. CEO, it will if you have lost your evaluation and you breach the rules. If your account is still in that status when you re up for the month, then yes, it'll reset for you. If your account is still active and you're still trading and you have not breached the rules when it's time for you to do the monthly payment, it will not reset for you. So only if you've already breached the rules and yeah, you're just waiting for the reset. So if you breach the rules right before your reset, it's best to not do the reset. Just wait until you have to pay your monthly payment, and then the reset will happen. right, is just wanted to see if this fair value gap was going to hold or if we were going to dip into the one below. And before it looked like maybe that one was going to hold, but now starting to have questions about whether that will hold and whether we'll move into the one just below it. Yeah, you're right. Who was that who mentioned that? It's George. Yeah, George. So what we have is we have new highs put in for the Dow. We also have new highs put in for S&P, and this is from yesterday. So it took out the high from yesterday, whereas Nasdaq did that overnight. Right at the London open, it took over the high. Mm-mm. All right, so it's 10 o'clock now. Actually, 2 minutes afterwards. Let's actually go down to lower time frame. And let's go ahead and put the session highs up as well. Take a look and see which session highs and lows are still available. Obviously, we just took out New York's low. As soon as it was made, it was swiped the next minute. First minute in, right at 10 o'clock, New York low was taken. Let's look for the New York high. Obviously, the New York high is still open. And that's just after the opening bell, the high that we achieved that didn't quite take out the previous high from London. Yeah, so we have the London high, which let me just delete this line. You can see it. Okay. See the green line, we have the London high there. In fact, let me just rename this London high. Okay, Asia high definitely traded to Asia low, London low, New York low. All right. Yep. So the only thing that's still available is the New York high and London high, and they're within 1 point of each other or 2 points of each other. So it's essentially the same level. And that's all we have as far as session highs and lows that has not been traded to. So we can take that off of our screen. We have the London high marked up here at 768. Remember the Friday high at 775 just above it. And then obviously the all-time high at 793. I just want to see how the next 5 minutes finishes, how we close out right at around 10:10. All right. Yep. Thought that high was going to be swept, going to be taken out, and it so far has not. We still got another 90 seconds. I just want to see if this high is taken out before that time ends. And while we wait for that, if there are any new people in the trading room, anyone brand new, this is your first time or second or third time, you're still fairly new and you've never introduced yourself, jump in the chat and let us know you're here. Let us know where you're coming from and how long you've been trading. Yeah, you're right. It does look like a nice little trend line. These lows straight down. Oh, on the 15. Thank you, CEO. Appreciate you. You're right. It is silver bullet time. Though you could stay with striking if you like striking insight. That's fine by me. Don't worry, I'll get used to it. It'll just take me a couple days, and I'll forget that you were DV trades before. Wonder if all this bearish momentum is set up for the 12 o'clock news event. Let's see. Tomorrow, all medium impact. One at 11, one at 12:30, one at 1. Okay. Thursday at 8:30 p.m. Okay, that's what we're looking for. Unemployment claims. All All right, once again, we'll take a peek at the other three indices, well, all three indices together, along with the dollar. Looks like so far, the first 13 minutes, we have bearish activities from all indices as well as the dollar. All right, so still bearish on Dow. Bullish on S&P. Still bullish on NQ on the hourly time frame. You said women. Yeah, you're right. 1 minute breakers does look like it's forming. All right, the breaker did not hold that time. Okay, we're getting close to 10:30, getting really close to 10:30. Let's see if we get another pivot sometime soon. Usually pivots are between 10:20 to 10:40-ish. Let's go to the 15. Let's take a peek at that fair value gap that it's in right now. Down to the 5 minute. And we're just looking to see. Let me try to find another area that price may want to trade to before it settles in. This breaker set up again. Let's see if it creates a new breaker. See if we get a big push through this breaker, like with speed. Not a little stair step up. We want to get speed. We want to see it push through quickly with the maximum like 2 candles. More minute on this candle. So far, nothing. Maybe it's going to let this candle expire and then we'll get started with the next candle and see if that's one that's able to break through. Or we'll see if we just continue on and continue to put in lower prices. So we'll set up this marker here and see if price pushes through it prior to pushing through the high. Okay, now that it's inside, again, it's we want to look for power and speed. We want to see a large candle. We want to see it get all the way through. It looks like it's being rejected at the current moment. Hey, Splash, good morning. And we still got a minute left, so it still could show us something. Okay, it wasn't to be, not on this candle. So maybe we'll get pushed downwards, sweep those lows. Okay, another minute, and let's see where this 3-minute candle closes. Then we'll also want to pay attention to the next candle and see if it creates a fair value gap, assuming this candle closes above the breaker. All right, Loot, congratulations. Way to go, man. $6.12. Wow, that's an awesome entry. All right, I'm gonna abandon this trade. It's not moving with the speed I needed to move with. I'll be right back. I'm going to go ahead and refill my coffee. Give me 2 minutes. I'll be right back. I think crypto said she was going to be busy today, if I'm not mistaken. Striking Insight is back as DB. Mhm. Right, for the next 20 minutes, we'll monitor price action here on the 1 minute and see if we get a break in structure. As of right now, we are on the 1 minute bearish. Okay, DV. All right, no problem. But no, it's up to you, man. If you like striking insight and that's what you want to go by, feel free, man. Do striking insight. Trust me, it'll only take us 2 days. We'll get used to it. Right, striking insight it is. It's so far it has not been, and this is how close things are. Right, this was the high here. It got really close to it. Started trading lower. We have a low here, and this got really close to it. Didn't go through. Now it's trading higher. So it's just making a smaller range eventually to break out. Right. Yeah. Let's go. Let's take a look at the others. Let's see where they are trading right now. See, we still have all three indices bearish as well as the dollar. So for the entire hour, all three indices and the dollar did the same thing. Like we're getting some momentum in the towards higher prices now. All right, looks like we're getting to the last few minutes of the hour, and finally the hourly candle on the Dow and on the ES are starting to get more neutral and potentially may close out as a slightly bullish hammer. All right, looks like still in the range now. Has not broken out yet. We have another 30 seconds and then the hour will be over. And in that case, let's go over and just finish out this hour looking at the three indices in the dollar, just see where they land for. Right, we can see that these two candles on these indices are almost bullish, not quite there yet. Actually, the Nasdaq's not too far behind. Remember, there's medium impact news in 1 hour at 12 o'clock. One of the FOMC members will be speaking. Okay, we'll go ahead and switch back over since we're just now starting the new candle. So it's probably not going to be a lot to look at for a little bit on the hourly. Hmm. Bounce over. Let's take a peek at ES and see if it's ripe for a long entry. See a couple subscribers eyeing this pair to see if they can find an entry here. It looks actually pretty similar to Nasdaq. Yeah. All right. So now we got another retest of the new day opening gap here on S&P 500. Let's move up a time frame and see if there's anything different to see here, a different perspective. No, just consolidation, a bunch of chop. Coming out of a bullish push, bearish retracement, and then yeah, nothing looks enticing here, even on the S&P. Wow, we're still trading in between this zone on NQ 40 minutes ago. Say 30 minutes. Trade up into here and then back down maybe. Anyway, what's interesting is that we're trading well below the new day opening gap, whereas we saw ES is still trading above. Yep. I mean, things could loosen up for us this hour, but so far it has not given us much. Yeah, I see what you're saying with the highs. Yesterday's high was broken by Nasdaq at about 2 o'clock this morning. So those earlier candles, where it's ES and Dow didn't break yesterday's high at that time, they broke their high at the open 9:30. And so you're right, there is an SMT there. Um, 30, sure. So I'm assuming you're talking about a bearish fib. We're about 38%. I mean, if you just want to do a fib on this one candle, we can do that. In that case, we're at 88%. But yeah, so I would have taken my fib from this candle's body to this candle's wick. All right, so it looks like we are actually moving and we moved out of that range finally. Naomi, good morning. I think, okay, so maybe this is what you were talking about on the 30-minute. You wanted to see S&P. And you're right, we were at 61% and now we're at 70, as high as 78. It made it all the way to the midnight open. Yep. Okay. 554 to 767. Okay, let's go back over. $554. Oh, okay. I see. You over here. Got it. So you went from this. All right, Dustin, I think maybe this is what you were referring to. So we had reached 78% retracement. If you're going from wick to wick on, yesterday morning around 10:30 until, I guess this must have been London's high. Yep, 2:30 this morning. I would have started mine from here, right? So we would have pretty much had a 100% retracement. But I see what you were doing here. This also is perfectly fine. And in that case, yes, 78% retracement, which is almost as deep as you want to see it and still push upwards. The deeper it goes down, yes, you have less risk before full retracement, but also the increased risk that it does do a full retracement and it doesn't go the direction you want it to. So yep, so 78% retracement on that, on the 30-minute. Naomi, as of right now, we're not doing anything. I'm not sure if you just joined or if you've been here for a few minutes, but if you've been here for at least the last 45 minutes or so, you can see this is what price is doing. And so we're not really targeting anything. I attempted a long over here. That long fell short. Yeah, I think it was in this candle right here, and then it continued to trade down, which took me out of my trade. I attempted another one here, and it just kind of fizzled and wasn't doing much, and so I closed it before it stopped me out. So I'm not looking for an entry down here at all. I've attempted it twice, and yeah, it didn't work for me. So I'm not looking for anything down here. I don't know if Naomi, if you're looking for something, but I'm definitely not. Especially while it's in this range. Until it breaks out, there's really nothing to see. The fact that it tapped through just by a couple ticks and didn't continue pushing, that doesn't lend well for a long. So if we see it start to break down into the lower region here, then don't be surprised if you see a price move through this range here and continue further south. Hmm. Yes, news is coming at 12 o'clock. The calendar up once again. Today at noon, we have a medium impact folder. So not a high impact, but it should do something. And it's one of the FOMC members is speaking to a panel of bankers, I believe, up in Cleveland or somewhere in Ohio. Fib levels. So fib levels is just it just gives you essentially a percentage of retracement. And generally, if you see price turn around, it'll generally turn around. It's anywhere between 50 and that 78% mark. So if I put the fib back up, when I just put the fib here, this was just to measure the 50%. So I could put the center line. But when I'm measuring a leg like this, when you're looking for a retracement, anywhere from 50% is where price would like to retrace to balance price. And then once price is balanced, then it moves on and carries on the direction it was already going. So that's why when you start seeing it retracing down, when it gets to around the 50%, 61%, you start looking for it to turn around and go the other direction. We have what we call the optimal trade entry. So the sweet spot for fib retracement is between 61 and 78%. So if you see a price leg that does something like this, and then you start seeing it retrace, right? When it gets here, you start looking at your entry models and seeing if something presents itself, because you're expecting for a price to now do this, go back the opposite direction. And that's generally what we use Fibonacci for, is just to measure the size of a extension leg or an expansion. So then when it retraces, we have a reasonable expectation of where it may turn around at. Okay. And this question was for the money matrix. So hopefully that helped. And hopefully someone else also had a similar question. They just didn't ask. All right. So the only thing that looks favorable is the fact that all the candles are closing above the 50% line. So they're all in the premium range of this small range here, from this high to this low. So this happened at 1020, 1025. So just before 1030, we created a range that we're still trading in, but within that range we're trading in the upper portion, the upper half. Only thing we want to be careful of is this here. So you get trend line liquidity. You start seeing, okay, our lows are being protected. They're not being violated. So if I want to go long at the 50% line, I can put my stop loss here and it's protected. Do the same here, go long at the 50% line, put your stop loss here and it's protected. But what oftentimes happens is that price will do this, right? It'll keep doing this. And then eventually it'll fail. It won't make a higher high, but then it'll make a lower low. And it'll do this, right? And in doing so, it will have swept this low. Oops. It will have swept this low. And then it'll go down and take this one. So it'll take all three of these at one time after building it up. So they call it engineered liquidity. And so you have to be careful when you see these slopes being built. Sometimes they're not there to protect your stop loss. They're there actually to entice it and then take it. Splash, there is news coming at 12, and it's not necessarily important news. It's one of the FOMC members is speaking. And generally when they speak, the market moves because people always ask them what's the future outlook of interest rates and what's the current state and future outlook of the economy. And so those are really big subjects to speak about. And they latch on to any comment they hear and start projecting out what that means for the future. And so price generally moves when they speak. At least that's what they'll tell us, but it could just be an excuse for them to move the market artificially. Yep, you're right, Dustin. Yep, it's somewhere in 3 or 4. It won't tap it more than that. It'll come down and it'll just take them all. So just be careful when you see it, especially when it's really tight like this, where it's every 4 or 5 candles. And for all of you who are familiar with the wedge pattern, I'm not, but I know some of you are. This is, I don't know which one that is, but it's definitely forming a wedge. I knew something looked weird there. I removed the lower line. Bear flag. All right, cool, calm. Thank you for that. See, there you go. They're already saying this is a bear flag, so it's a setup. At some point, it's going to rip down and take out these lows. Now, that may also be the trigger for it to go higher. Sweeping these lows, dipping below here, then turn around, setting up bullish price action, and then going higher. So you still have to be agile, still have to make sure that you're aware of what's happening, but just make sure you're protecting yourself if you are going long. Rising wedge, okay. Okay, all the way about 30 minutes left, or a little bit longer, 35 minutes left. If you have any questions that you have not asked yet, go ahead and throw them in the chat. And also, if you've been hanging around with us for a bit and you're enjoying the content this morning, go ahead and hit the like button as well. It really does help out with recruiting and suggesting the video to others on YouTube looking for trading. So that would be very much appreciated if you would do that. Newcomers, do we have any other newcomers in the room who'd like to introduce themselves? Just let us know where you're from and how long you've been trading. Maybe also what your trading strategy is. Big Sean, yes, I'm on every day. You can catch me at 9:15 in the morning, and also in the afternoon you can catch me at 1300. If you go ahead and subscribe to the channel, you'll get a reminder each day when I'm getting ready to come on. Believe they send you a reminder like 30 minutes before I'm on, and then once I hit the live button, they'll send you another reminder letting you know that it's active. All right, as we see a lot of consolidation going on and not much activity this hour, be careful as we get to the end of this hour since we do have news coming at 12. If you see a lot of momentum or movement the 10 to 15 minutes prior to, understand that's likely a fake out. And then once you get the 10 o'clock news, you're going to probably get the opposite direction. So just be careful if that happens. All right, Louisiana, awesome. Good to have you, Big Sean. Thanks for joining, and I look forward to seeing you in future sessions. Again, like I mentioned, if you have any questions, go ahead and throw in the chat. If there's anything you see that is different, or if you have any ideas as to what you see in the market, go ahead and throw it in because we have different style traders in this room. So not everyone is trading exactly like me. They're just looking for a trading community to be a part of and to trade with someone as opposed to sitting alone. So yeah, jump in. ES is stronger right now. Let's see what we got. I mean, the ES has been stronger all morning. It hasn't been putting in the type of lows that we saw Nasdaq put in, and the Dow was weak from yesterday. So it's really just trying to rebound and catch up with the other two. And remember, ES is the one that has not eclipsed its all-time high yet. So the fact that it's the strongest of the three is not surprising. That's good for the dollar to keep pushing down. Absolutely. See if it can sweep the low from what's that 2 o'clock this morning. So the London Open. See if the dollar can sweep the London Open. All right, low. It looks like we're going to test those highs again, maybe push out of this fair value gap. Okay, now we have all three indices buying this hour so far. I mean, we are halfway into it. But finally, we have them all on the same page, and we have dollar still pushing down. So it looks like we may have conditions ripe for an entry should one present itself. But we still need some of this chop to iron itself out. So we either need some lows to be swept or something needs to happen. Otherwise, I will stay out. I know many of you may participate, and I don't want to discourage you from doing so. I just want to explain what I'm seeing and how I'm going to approach the market. Mm. Yep. Yeah, the 1 hour fair value gap is slightly, just slightly below the London open. So yes, it'll have a chance to clear out the London low and hit the fair value gap. So the question is, yeah, what will it do when it gets there? The Dow is now trying to stretch out of a 1 hour fair value gap, but is another one immediately above. So it might still have some issues. S&P obviously is pulling out of a bullish fair value gap on the hourly. So clearly that's why it's a bit stronger than the others. And Nasdaq, we're approaching a large fair value gap above, which looks like it's from about 660 until 700 on the 1 hour. So literally until we get to the new week opening gap or the new day opening gap, actually it's 17,700 flat. There is a big bearish fair value gap there. TJ, welcome. Maybe we just had a break of structure there by taking out this high. I mean, we did have it before, but it didn't do anything. It immediately retraced and went back to equilibrium of this range. Let's see how this candle does. But we do have an even deeper one, so this one may react better. In fact, let me remove this. We don't need it any longer. Even the lower, we don't need. Yeah, TJ, I see. Yeah, I took one, actually 1.5 trades really. I had one that didn't work out. I tried to take it on a re-entry, and since it didn't look good to me, I abandoned it halfway through. So technically 1.5 trades, but it was right in this range over here where it looked like we had a breaker. And turns out that it really didn't work out for me. So it was these two candles. I believe I was on the 1 minute or 3 minutes, something lower, but it was essentially these two candles. Price broke above. I took the re-entry on the breaker, and then it just kept breaking down. Eventually, taking me out of the trade. And then I took these two candles when price closed above up here to try to catch it back into the breaker here for the second breaker. And it just kind of toyed around in the middle, and I eventually abandoned it. So those are my two trades, or 1.5 trades this morning. And that's another reason why I'm just not interested in this area here. I've already tried this area. It didn't do well for me. I tried it twice, actually. And we can even see, I mean, it's been sitting here for an hour and 15 minutes or so. Oh man, cool call. I'm sorry about that. But if you made money on the way down, that was a good move down. But yeah, this all this chop here, I'm sure there are many losing trades there. Even here on the 5 minute, we took out the previous set collection of highs, but even so, we couldn't leave a fair value gap or anything as an entry model. Right, the only fair value gap that was left behind was this one. It left a fair value gap behind, but if you look at the high, it did not eclipse the high before. All right, everyone. Remember, I was talking about this trend line, so be careful. Let's see what happens here, and if price continues to break down through it, whether it starts taking out these lows, especially since we're in the second half of this hour and we know we're coming up on news. It may wait for news to then send price lower, only to come back higher, or it may go and sweep these before news comes. So as soon as the news happens, it's ready to take off. Yeah. And that's assuming it's bullish. If it's bearish, it may sweep these lows, and as soon as news happens, and it just shoots down. At the moment, I don't see that happening, but just be prepared. Hmm. Uh, yep. As price action looks like a test of who can sit on the hands the longest. Doing much. Hmm. I'll be right back. I'll be right back. Give me 2 minutes. This market? What is this market? It's nothing right now. All right, let's put up these swing lows again. See if it tears through the first two and leaves the third one open, or takes the third one out as well. Trash. It's garbage. Thanks for the likes, everyone. Appreciate it. I do appreciate it. Oh, is Dixie still trading lower? Yep, it is. Good. It's in that fair value gap now. As a matter of fact, let's take a look at it. Okay, we have dollar on the left, the far left, digging into this fair value gap now. Still pushing. All the three indices have both traded below and above their opening price this hour. Yep, we even see Nasdaq retracing a bit. It traded into this fair value gap and then started to recede. S&P traded down into this fair value gap. It actually traded much lower, closed into it last hour, and this hour so far it traded below, but also started trading above. And this is the fair value gap that the Dow is inside of. I thought it last hour it would have traded out of and closed, but it closed back inside of, so it's still inside of it. And those are probably the reasons why price is being held. Obviously, we have medium impact news coming in 15 minutes. Medium impact, I've seen it do nothing, like absolutely nothing, and I've seen it do as much as what a high impact news event would do. So we need to be ready for all of it. Yeah, it seems like crude's been a hot topic recently. I've heard a lot of people talk about it. All right, now we have these two indices retracing enough to now start to show a slightly bearish candle. So now we have all indices trading bearish as well as the dollar. And for the price action we're looking for the trades that we're looking to enter, this is not what we were hoping for. So for now, continue sitting on my hands and look for something better. Oops. First two are down. In fact, really, it's three of them because it started up here. We've taken out 1, 2, 3, and the fourth one is still sitting there. Just like I mentioned a little while ago, I said just watch out and see if this turns into trendline liquidity from creating this wedge. Yeah, I've noticed sometimes the very last one will survive. And so the market just uses this to snatch anyone who keeps shifting their trend, their stop loss. Every time there's a new high or new lower low or higher low, sorry. Every time there's a new higher low, people who shift their stop loss, then the market will come and take those out. And then the person who kept theirs at the lowest point will survive. In this case, all lows have been taken. Have a new low of the day. Finally got a break out of this range here. And I mentioned that if we get it just before the news event, expect for maybe the news event to turn things around and this kind of to be the sweep that we needed. But if lower prices are being sought, then there won't be a retracement. The news event will come and it'll just continue and it'll probably run off and create a very volatile situation. $80 on crude. Okay. Oh, it's your first time here, Gustavo. Welcome. Welcome to the live stream. And thanks for jumping in the chat and introducing yourself. Gustavo, have you been trading for a long time or you brand new? Okay. Oops. There we go. All right, everyone, about 7 minutes remaining. Go ahead and ask your final questions, anything you have, or any final comments you may have. Go ahead and get those in before the session ends. Again, we're going to break for lunch. We come back at 1300. During lunch, as I mentioned several times this morning, we have an FOMC member speaking. So there's a medium impact folder. If you see a spike in price or finally you start seeing things move around, that's the reason why. We'll review all of that when we come back at 1300 and see if there's an entry for the afternoon, and hopefully everything didn't happen during lunch. But we'll know that at that time. But for now, just go ahead and let me know if you have any additional questions before we get off today. Hmm. All right, D. Anderson, no problem, no problem. We'll try to recover. We will definitely try to recover. Let's wait for the news event, and let's give the news event time to settle. So if you trade during lunch, remember things get going at 12. So try to, if you can, hold off to about 12:30 before looking to enter. And for everyone who's not trading during lunch, again, we pick up at 1300, so we can do that then. You want to buy at 17,510? Okay. All right, HDS. Well, if it gets that low, you may actually have that opportunity. It looks like if it makes it that far down, we'll be at, on the 4 hour, that'll be 60. No, not quite. Just below 50%. So you'll be in discount again on the 4 hours. So that might actually not be a bad idea. Yeah, D. Anderson, we've all been there. Oh, yeah, we've all been there. It is 6:07 in the cards before lunch, or are we going to have to wait? All right, Kendrick. All right, Kendrick. Hold tight. But yeah, it's that same D. Anderson. I hear what you're saying. It's is one of the hardest disciplines, but I think one of the most rewarding. So we just put in the work. Um, but I think most people are very similar to the way when we started. I never envisioned it would take me 3 years to become profitable and confident in the way that I like to trade. I never knew it would take that long, but here we are. I thought in the first 6 months I would have this thing mastered and start making money, which is why I started trading money from the beginning. Exactly. So, Yep. 2 more minutes. 2 more minutes. Let's see if we can get a big push here and take out 607 just before we go head into lunch. Okay, D. Anderson, you got me beat. I thought I was going to be tops in that category, but you got me beat. I think I still hold the record for losing the most money in your first trade. I think I have the record for that, and I'm so confident in it that I can't even tell you the amount because of how embarrassing it is. Yep, and look at you, D. Anderson. You're still here. Most people would have been like, "It's rigged. It doesn't work. I can't do this." And here you are, still here, still pushing. Mm. Okay, TikTok, you got me beat on most in one trade. But like I said, I think I have the record for the most in first trade ever, the first trade I ever took. All right, looks like that high is not going to be taken. Another 30 seconds. Any final comments, questions, anything you got? Don't forget, we're back at 1300 for anyone who's available this afternoon. If you're not available this afternoon, I'll catch you tomorrow morning at 9:15, the usual time for our AM session. Go ahead and subscribe if you haven't already. Make sure you get all the invites for future sessions, and go ahead and hit the like as well on your way out the doors this morning. It really does help promote the video and promote the channel. So I appreciate all the support you guys have been giving me. And with that, we are now at 12 o'clock. So we're at lunchtime, and I'm going to head out, take a mental break for 60 minutes, and I'll be right back. So I'll see everyone who's able to make it this afternoon. And for all others, I'll see you tomorrow. Cheers. Take care.